Good morning, everybody. I have to say this. I had posted like 3 videos last week, toward the end of the week, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with them. And apparently, in my highly technical knowledge, I set all of them to private. Not sure why. So you were getting no notifications, you were getting no views. I mean, just, I don't know what I was doing. But it is what it is. I just thought it was funny because I'm always talking about how analog I am. I'm definitely analog. We talk a fair amount about the people waxing cold in the end times, and in the Bible it tells us that Jesus said that in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The love of many will wax cold. And I've got a headline right here. It says, all over America, chaos is erupting in the streets. The threat of Islamic terror on U.S. soil has never been higher. Stores around the country are bracing for a wave of crime, and food stamp benefits are not restored soon. If food stamp benefits are not restored soon. Now, this is talking about strictly just strictly the food stamp chaos, with the government being shut down. Crazy people are already shoplifting grocery stores and taking whatever they want, from stores being ransacked to families being robbed in parking lots. The chaos is escalating fast as food pantries are being overwhelmed. Just You can't play with people's lives over a political issue. There's got to be something done to where you can get your political issues fixed, and the people that really depend on the SNAP benefits can get food. The fastest way for people to riot is you take the food away from them, which will happen at some point. Make no mistake about that. Food will be used as a weapon. Food's always used as a weapon. That's why we talk about prepping. Prep something, store something, extra cans of food, chunky soup, whatever it is, whatever your jam is, do it. You take a can of chunky soup and 1 cup of rice, that's 2 meals for one person for one day. You ain't got to eat 5 meals a day. You can eat 1 or 2 and be just fine. But we have a mentality that, oh no, I'm not going to eat that. You ought to go back and read some of the books from World War II. The people in Germany, or not in Germany, but in Italy and some of these other countries that Germany took over. Not Italy, Poland, the Eastern Bloc countries that Germany took over going in. Those people were starving to death. They were trading their daughters for a can of food to soldiers coming through. Wives were going out and prostituting. It was a horrific time, and we don't remember any of that because it was 1940, 80 years ago. So don't for 1 second think that food will not be used as a weapon. Now we have these big giant grocery stores, but the problem is what happens when the grocery store goes empty? People in Appalachian Mountains right now that are depending on SNAP benefits are in a world of hurt, because if they don't grow it or kill it, they're not eating. And it's really hard to grow food in the wintertime unless you have a greenhouse. There's only a few things you can grow in the wintertime, and growing takes time. It's not like it's something you're going to put the seed in the ground and you're going to have food tomorrow. You know, we start planting tomatoes. I plant tomato seeds in January so I can plant them in late March, early April in the ground, and then it takes another 2 months before you ever see tomatoes. So you're talking about from start to finish with a tomato plant almost 5 months, 6 months before you actually get any fruit out of it. So food most definitely is a weapon. It's not hard to store food. Make sure you rotate it. We're rotating through some of our older stuff now. And do I think it's easy to do? No, I don't think it's hard to do either. But be very careful. I talk to my wife all the time about, you walk out of a store, you better keep your head on the swivel. Left, right, up, down. Do the same thing when you get out of your car. Do the same thing when you come out of the store, so you're not ambushed. Or at least that gives you a better shot of not being ambushed. Don't stand in the parking lot, get your stuff in the car and go. Did Ukraine just quietly attack 2 European countries? I seriously doubt Ukraine's going to be attacking anybody. The weight of welfare, how SNAP is killing America. Soaring memory problems in the youth linked to unprecedented wireless radiation exposure. Well, I can attest to that working with kids. They can't, they're like goldfish. Their attention span is about that long, and their memory is about that long. And that's not to say, I don't want somebody to say I'm saying kids are dumb. They're not dumb at all. You can give them something to do, and they'll complete it and do a really good job on it. But if you ask them what you said 5 minutes ago, they can't tell you. They're like, what? So a lot of that has to do with computers and phones. A lot of it has to do with the environment, with the crappy food that they serve us and all that sort of stuff. You're gearing up for war, Russia, Middle East, Venezuela, and more. Yeah, we deployed troops to Venezuela, not in Venezuela. I think they're sitting on a ship outside of Venezuela. I don't remember where I saw that headline yesterday. Trump hints Maduro's days are numbered. He is the president of Venezuela right now. Protesters and government supporters clash on the streets of Belgrade in Yugoslavia. So why are we going into Venezuela? Is it because of drugs? No. I don't think it has anything to do with drugs. We need the natural resources. Remember, wars are fought for 2 reasons: money and power. Come in a lot of different forms, but that's why they're fought. Money could be natural resources, it could be gold, it could be silver, it could be territory, and just flat out power. I'm the bigger dog on the block, and I'm going to take what you have. They're fought for those 2 reasons. I don't care how they spin it. I don't care what they say. That's why they're fought. Police raid raid nightclub in the Ukraine over Russian song. Everything that we've talked about this morning in the last few minutes leads us to this. Jesus tells us we're supposed to be the light of the world. Let your light shine. Well, the light you're shining is Jesus. Jesus spoke to them again, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. That comes from John 8:12. Jesus was and still is the light of the world. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. John 1:4. Simply put, the life that Christ possessed was his source of light in the world. He said that all who believe shall have the light of life. What is the life behind the light that the scriptures speak of? When John uses the word life, he is speaking of the whole biography of Jesus' existence. Jesus tells us that we are alive as he did, or we are to live as he did, for us to be as Christ was in the world. Christ commanded you to feed the hungry, take care of the orphans and the sick, be of service to those people when they need it. Just gonna let that sit there for a minute. I related to the life that Christ is by rejoicing in the kind of little things that he did and said. His everyday deeds, words, walk with the Father are meant to define the meaning of the Christ life to us. I think of Jesus' friendship with Lazarus, of all his retreat from the multitudes after a long period of ministry, of his enjoyment of time spent in the home of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. I think of him taking the little children into his arms and blessing them, of his obedience to his mother, even as a grown man, and turning the water into wine at the wedding feast. I think of Jesus' love, care for the scorned, the unloved, the poor, and his compassion for the woman for the woman caught in adultery, of his honoring the widow who had only 2 mites to give. That was money. She gave everything she had. They were like, oh, well, she only gave 2 mites. But that was all she had. That was it. And she gave it all away. I doubt there will be enough books to record all the loving things Jesus did while on earth. In these passages, we find the ways that we are to relate our lives to his and comprehend the light that is the life. Jesus' life was all about service to others. Love, compassion, helping, showing them a better way, showing them that selfish wants, needs, whatever it was. You know, they tried to stone the woman for committing adultery, and Jesus' first thing is the person here who's never committed a sin, let them, and I'm paraphrasing, very loose paraphrasing, let him without sin cast the first stone. Everybody dropped their stones, turned around, and walked away. We're commanded to forgive. I'm going to go back to the SNAP benefits. We're also commanded to help those people. I'm not saying, and some people you can't help. I'm just being honest. And y'all know it's true. I know it's true. Some people you cannot help. Some people are takers. If somebody truly needs help, give it to them. My wife and I talk about this all the time, about helping people. But you also need time to recharge. Prep something today so you can kick that can a little further down the road. If you have the means to buy an extra 2 or 3 cans of soup, put it in the back, rotate through it. That soup will last a long time, years, like 2 or 3 years past this date or longer. Dented cans are a different story. If you got dented cans, you need to use those as quick as you can, or as soon as you can. But pray for those people. Pray for those people who don't know where their next meal is coming from. And that goes with the homeless too. Some of those people can't help that they're homeless. They have mental issues, they have drug issues, whatever. Very difficult to help those people sometimes, but you can pray for them. We should be praying for them. Father, help them. Father, find their way. And mainly, and more importantly, is find their way to you. Find their way to the Father. The Father sometimes is the only one that can help. As much as we want to, as much as we try, now He uses us in a lot of different ways. And that's great. But sometimes He is the only one that can do it. All we are is the vessel. That's it. And truly, if you think about it, that's true in every case. All we are is the vessel. The Father's the one doing all the work. And if somebody doesn't want your help, not a whole lot you can do. The whole food situation kind of struck me this morning. I didn't mean to go on and on about it, but it's a real issue for a lot of people in a lot of communities that depended on those benefits, that are not the deadbeats that are just working the system. They truly need those benefits to get by. I feel for those people. I pray for those people. That, I pray for our leaders every day that they will find God, and that God will give them righteous judgment and righteous wisdom to rule. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. All we can do is pray and read our Bible, which we should be doing every day anyway. Y'all have a great day. Y'all keep your head on a swivel regardless of what you're doing today. Make sure you know what's going on around you. It's not just a phrase, it's a plan of action. Y'all, let God guide your steps today. Pray, prep, and train. Talk to you later.